What is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm so excited to be here talking about Obi-Wan Kenobi. First 2 episodes debuted today on Disney Plus. I'm Josiah Leroy. We are supposed to have Jedi Master Panda Baba Yaga, but I'm not sure what's going on here. So hopefully he joins us.
Maybe disconnected.
Hello there.
Oh my gosh, look at him.
That's awesome.
Let's do it, boys. Oh, we've been waiting for this. We've been waiting years and years, and here we go, baby.
This is where the fun begins. Look at him.
Hello there.
Listen, John's a good-looking guy, but look at him without glasses. Look, he in the full Kenobi garb here. John, you could be Ewan McGregor stunt double.
I'll take that all day. I'll take that all day, baby.
That is pretty. Honestly, you do fit the part pretty good.
If I were to tell you that I grew out my hair basically just to look like Ewan McGregor, I wouldn't be lying.
Well, you've nailed a mix of the episode 2 and episode 3 mullet.
Yeah, I wasn't going mullet. I wasn't going full episode 2 mullet, but I'm like, you know what? If I go episode 2 mullet, but with the volume of episode 3, I'm in. And then that's what we did.
Oh, good call.
That's what we did.
Good job, man. Well, I'm so happy because I was hoping that you'd dress up as Obi-Wan for most of Star Wars Reviewed, but here we are. We finally got not just Kenobi on Disney Plus, but John dressing up as Obi-Wan. So
had to save it for a very special day.
Double whammy.
Absolutely. Shout out to Hockey Man. Chris in the chat. Thanks for the subscription. Tim Tales. Damn. We're talking about Kenobi. How excited were you after getting up super early to see those episodes today?
I'll tell you what, at the beginning of the first episode, I had goosebumps.
Dude.
When they were rolling the beginning, and I was like, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for because it's everything I wanted. And I was just super hyped. And after I was done, I was wide awake. I was like, more coffee. So, yeah, it was awesome.
100%.
So we should say, if you have not seen these episodes, you may want to bookmark this, come back at youtube.com/thegeekiverse and podcast services around the globe, because we are going to be talking spoilers galore for episodes 1 and 2 of Kenobi that premiered today. Actually, it was sneakily premiered last night. Thanks a lot, Disney Plus, for that.
I know. I saw that. You sent that in the text, and then I went back to my Facebook and I saw Disney post that. But I'm glad we did the thing we did where we got up early, because 2 episodes would have been tough. 2 episodes at midnight Eastern would have been. Because that would have been 2 in the morning easily. So I'm like, I'm glad we did what we did and got up at like 5:30 and watched basically at the same time together.
Something about watching Kenobi and having a cup of coffee, though.
Honestly. It was nice. It was
perfect.
No one was awake for me. I had peace and quiet. I was fully into it.
That's why I tweeted out, mornings are for coffee and Kenobi.
Tim, that's a great point, because I was exhausted last night, and that's perfect because I had the mindset for a week or 2 that I was going to do this. I was going to go to bed as early as possible after the girls went to bed, everything, the puppies. And it worked out that I was in bed by like 8:30, which is a record for me. So I was there. I didn't even see, obviously, the release from Disney that was happening. But I don't know that would have been a good option anyway, because I was so tired. And then what was also cool was this is like a different type of event. We've talked about going to midnight video game releases in the past, the hype that you stand there in the line at GameStop and how cool that is. We've gone to so many movies on preview night, right? Opening night, really, on Thursday nights. Everyone there is just so excited to be there, whether it's Spider-Man, Star Wars, DC, and that's a different kind of hype. But this was cool because I know so many people, obviously all of us in the Geekiverse, the 3 of us, JT, we were all essentially getting up pretty early to watch this before we had to go to our day jobs. So 5:30 for most of us, we were kind of watching it together, but not really. And that's totally different. That's different from anything I've ever done. And I think that was so cool. So like, I'm happy that we didn't see that last night.
Yeah.
Is that adulting?
Yeah. Oh my God. Adulting.
Definitely adulting.
I guess that's us. I agree. It was a cool vibe. Yeah. Just to wake up. I had my alarm set for 5:30. I was up at 5:15 before the alarm. I was just like, I was so pumped. Like I think I got a decent night's sleep, whatever. I don't care. But I'm just like, yeah, I'm good to go. Had a whole pot of coffee on. I had my cat chilling with me. I was just like, we're watching, baby. It was so much fun.
Because I was texting John directly because he said he was awake. I didn't know Joe was awake. I was like, I don't want to text like spoilers in the group chat.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, Joe texts, just finished the second episode. I'm like, I'm not even done with the second episode yet. What the hell? Like, I didn't know you were awake.
Yeah, and I was awake for like a half hour before I even sent the group of checks. I didn't want to wake anybody up in case they weren't up yet. But
not to be noted, John and I sent the same text at the same time without anyone saying anything.
Yeah, that was great.
It's crazy. I hit it and I'm like, Oh,
Yeah, I think I
shit.
said Rise and Grind. I was debating between Hello There and Rise and Grind because, like, man, just got to put the work in. Got to put the work in. We did.
I saw the original text and then I put my phone down because I was like, I want to just be where I am for this. I had Buddy with me. That was it. Everyone else was asleep. Put coffee on. It was raining out, so that was super awesome. It was relaxing.
Yeah, it was.
And what a time. What an experience. So real quick before we dive in, pre-show here, I was talking that I was asking Tim if his wife, Jamie, was into Star Wars. He said he couldn't really get her in there, at least not yet. Lauren, my wife, has traditionally been into Star Wars by association. So her favorite Star Wars movie it's a tie between Revenge of the Sith and Rise of Skywalker. So that bodes well, Tim, for when we get to that. Lauren's kind of minority, but whatever. So this obviously very close to Revenge of the Sith in terms of timeline, and we got Ewan McGregor, Hayden Christensen, etc. Well, I finished the episodes. I've got some time to stew, so I start looking at stuff, and then I go to work. In the car, Lauren calls me, and it's usually like, something's wrong with the kids, etc. But she's like, "So how was it?" And I go, "Kenobi?" She's like, "Yeah, like tell me about it." I'm like, "Dude, it was unbelievable. It was everything I hoped for." But I can't believe the direction they took to pull Obi-Wan back into the fight. That is so beautiful to me. Leia is where I'm going with that. And I never anticipated it, never saw it coming. I was just excited to get Obi-Wan Kenobi. But I went on and on with it with Lauren, and she was like, okay, I'm going to have to watch this. And a lot of times I've really got to like pull teeth to get her in to watch stuff. And even now, just been texting pre-show, and I've been like, come on, can we watch this after I'm done? We won't be that long, I promise. But she's like, no, I got to go to bed. So it'll probably be tomorrow. So maybe that'll be the third time I watch these episodes. We'll see. But damn, I don't know that the Star Wars in general could have come back with their next series. Really, I mean, after Boba Fett, but after Mando, and blown it out of the water like they did. Before I pass it on to you guys, my thoughts on this. It feels so carefully detailed. Like they were gentle with this. They took their time. There was the rewrites. This was 4 episodes. Now it's 6 episodes. Deborah Chow gets involved. They didn't like how dark it was. They rewrite it. Still pretty dark, but they just got it right. We're only 2 episodes in, so we've got 4 to go. We'll see where that goes. But they absolutely got this right, and because they had to get it right and did, I think about fans of all generations for Star Wars here who just, turned 45, by the way, on May 25th. You got your original trilogy people seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi. You got your guys who grew up with the prequels, kind of like us, where that was their Star Wars to a degree. And then the sequel trilogy, where that was a little bit loose with some of the details that went on, for better or worse. This was tight. And this is a game changer, I think, for Star Wars. I don't think I'm overselling that. John, let's go to you. Let's talk about Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Dude,
or Obi-John, as Tank Newton says.
What an incredible start. And it's just, even from the trailers, even just from the announcement, you just knew that they were going to do this right. They were going to put the time and the effort into making sure that they did this right. They're bringing back Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, and they're giving us what we've wanted for so long, and they're telling a story that like we've all wanted to see. Like, for how many years have we said Ewan McGregor is the perfect age? He's still young enough. He could still do it. We could still get the transition between Obi-Wan Kenobi and Ben Kenobi. Like, he's on Tatooine. There's stories to tell. We want it so badly. For years, we thought it would never happen. We thought they would never touch the prequels again. We surely thought Hayden Christensen would never come back. Not that we saw him today at all. Not much from him, at least. And we get the announcement, and it's confirmed, and the trailers in the first 2 episodes, it's just all been perfect. It's perfect, from the music, the recap, dude. The recap that they started with, the prequels have never looked so good. I mean, we're all people who like find plenty to love about the prequels, right? But there's also plenty to pick apart in terms of like direction as a movie. That was like the best the prequels could possibly look. That montage, that retelling of Anakin's story was so freaking good.
John, did that recap? So it's 4 minutes long.
Yeah.
And if I ended there, even just watching clips I've seen 1,000 times, but how they put them together to tell this story, Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I have goosebumps thinking about it. Did it not almost look remastered?
Dude,
'Cause
yes,
it
like
was the best they've ever looked.
100%.
they did something. Yeah, they obviously, like, it's Disney. They own all the footage. They did something to them. They looked really, really good. And right, like, they just painted that narrative path. Like, it's the story we know, but it was so, like, condensed, and it was just so, like, perfectly told. And there was no narration. There was nothing extra. It was all just dialogue from those films. And man, it just built the hype right away. And then we start off. Are you kidding me? We start off with the Order 66 flashback. We wanting live action Order 66. Like, we've been begging for this show to do flashbacks, whether it be this or, you know, showing some more Clone Wars stuff, and they do it right away. Like, they know what we want, and they're taking this so seriously. There's so much to talk about, but man, it was so good.
It is. What a way to start that off. So what's funny is I sat down with Buddy on the couch. I'm like, trying not to spill my coffee as he's jumping all over. I pull up episode 1 here, the first episode for Kenobi, and it says, you have the option to skip recap, which is funny.
Get rid of that button. Grow up.
Wait, I didn't.
Why would you throw that in the first?
Shut up, Tim.
No. So I accidentally hit it because Buddy jumped on my lap, and I go, come on. So then I got out, rewound. It said, rewound.
Right.
I went back to the beginning and watched it. I was like, recap?
Yeah, it's like, what are we recapping? We're recapping Star Wars?
Crazy.
Right. In your first episode of your brand new series.
Right. You're recapping literally a prequel. What? Or a trilogy, I meant to say.
Does that not speak to the level of care and detail for this? Like, that Deborah Chow is the director for this, but I just imagine Filoni sitting there saying, "We got to get this right, guys. We got to get this right." Think about his Duel of the Fates discussion.
Dude,
you had to get it right.
You know there's a committee. I mean, obviously Deborah Chow is the sole director. I'm glad that they went with one director for this. I'm glad it's like one vision as opposed to something like Mando or maybe in some of the trilogies. Like, but there's a committee of people that sat down and was like, all right, how do we do this right? We this is the right place and time. Everybody's the perfect age. We're so perfectly removed from these prequels. As if you watched any of the press tour stuff, this is what Ewan McGregor has been saying. He's like, I didn't realize it at the time. The people who these movies were made for are finally old enough to tell us how much they love them. So, like, they are finally realizing that, like, man, people love Obi-Wan Kenobi and they love his portrayal of it, and it's just the perfect place and time to bring him back. And they had to do it right, and man, they're freaking doing it right.
Yeah.
Tim, I'm so sorry here. I before I forget one more thing, and I want to get your 101 on this.
That's good. Just take all the time from me.
That's great. So I think about how awesome it was for when we got to Force Awakens and that sequel trilogy that we were going to be getting Mark Hamill, Carrie Fisher, and Harrison Ford. And in a lot of ways, Ewan McGregor coming back for this is just as big to me.
It's bigger for me, dude. It's bigger for
me.
Yeah.
Hey guys, we grew up with these movies. This is Star Wars for us. I hope. So I predicted that Last Jedi on our Star Wars reviewed show would eventually be seen as a masterpiece. Maybe it won't be. But what I'm happy about is that we're starting to see the prequels in a positive light. And my favorite thing maybe about all of this, I mean, Ewan McGregor was always favorably viewed, I think, from a critic standpoint and a fan standpoint. Maybe Hayden Christensen was the one that was more panned. But I love that both of those guys are being so celebrated right now. Because damn it, do they deserve it. It's so beautiful. Tim, overall thoughts, reactions, how you felt when you watched these first 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi?
I'm kind of on the similar boat to you. You mentioned that how awesome it is for a lot of people when they brought Luke and Leia and Han back, and how awesome that was. But I think the point is that the movie wasn't ever about them. Like, this is about Obi-Wan. This is about the character that you grew to love in the first, 3 movies. That was probably like the main focal point, I would say, aside from Anakin, of the entire first 3 movies. It was about them. It's about the relationship. It's about him developing as, into becoming Darth Vader. And I think this is what everyone wanted. They want to see what happens. And just the way it kind of starts out, the recap, so to speak, I had goosebumps. I was like, all right, here we go. Like, they're pulling no punches. They're going straight for it. Started out with, like John said, the Order 66, and I was like, wow, like, this is awesome.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, and then how they transition into why they're bringing him back, which I thought was awesome, because it's kind of like one of those things where it's like, my first thought is, what are they going to have Obi-Wan do? Like, what is this going to be about?
Right.
What is his, place in all this? And I think they did a very good job of kind of bringing younger Leia in, which I had no idea, and just kind of incorporating that all in. I was like,
what an awesome bait and switch. What an awesome
Holy
bait and
crap.
switch. We get that first trailer. We see
that
Luke.
makes sense.
We're like, oh, okay, we're gonna get like a young Luke. I wonder how much we're gonna get of young Luke, and it's interesting. Okay, whatever. And they show us Leia. She's in her little room there. She's getting dressed up, and she's got the veil over. And I'm like, okay, they're just gonna show her here. They're not gonna go too crazy with it. They're just gonna kind of show us that young Leia exists, because that makes sense, right? And then they give us the Padme switch where it's not her, like, oh, just like her mother did. Are you kidding me? Yep. And then they just go right into the character. They show us this young Leia, and she's so perfectly cast. This girl is awesome, dude. She has like the charisma, the spunk, the attitude. Like, dude, like nobody expected. How did this not leak that this show would like include a young Leia?
Out of all the things they could have done, this makes the most sense.
Right,
like,
it does.
Leia would be the only one who really knew Obi-Wan, because the only type of scenario that they kind of incorporate is go find Obi-Wan Kenobi and give him this information,
right?
But that's a ton of gray area, which was good.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a disconnect there, because Leia doesn't know that Ben Kenobi is Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, she doesn't know that like old Ben is Obi-Wan. Like, she will have this memory for her life, but she doesn't know that like that's the same person she's sending that message to. Like, that her that's interesting.
I can't believe this is where the series is going, because I think if they coasted, I would have been like, this is great. We're getting Ewan, we're getting Hayden, and this story with these beloved characters we love, in Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. And Tim, what a perfect perspective, by the way, to say that the prequels were all about Anakin, and this time we're getting the switch here, and we're talking about Obi-Wan's point of view with these two same, now former best friends. But when I saw Leia show up, dude, I imagine like all the memes where Shia LaBeouf is watching his own movies and he's crying, like in the theater. That's how I felt. I was like, stop right now. Even if we get nothing else, we get a little bit of a glimpse of Alderaan. Holy shit, there's Jimmy Smits as Bail Organa again. I didn't know that was happening.
Right. Once we saw Leia, I knew it was happening.
With Leia, dude, think about how special this is. And it's in the second episode. They're having how great is it that Obi-Wan now has been able to spend time with the fourth Skywalker here, right? Anakin is his best friend. Padme, he was with her or around her a great deal. And then obviously had quite an impact on Luke as we get towards A New Hope.
Right.
But Leia was always that missing link. I never even knew I wanted it. And now they're essentially, in a way, on a rescue mission together. The rescue is for her. But she's the reason that the Force essentially awakens, if you will, for him again.
Right.
He closes himself off to it. We never considered that. By the way, I pick my brain on this maybe before I forget a little later, but there's a lot of parallels to the sequel trilogy with what's going on here. I was like, oh, this.
Yes.
Luke shuts himself off from the Force. Anyway, it's so beautiful. And that little moment where he says, you remind me of someone, and he's talking about her mother. Dude. That's as emotional as I've been in a Star Wars movie
and when she follows up with, were they also a Jedi? No, they were a leader. Yes, she was a leader, dude. She was never a senator. She was a leader. We've got someone in the chat saying it's a little bit of a problem for the canon where Leia says, you served my father in the Clone Wars. She doesn't know that this Ben guy is Obi-Wan Kenobi. She knows them. So it's confirmed in Leia's book that she knows of two people, an old Ben who was a Jedi and an Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, she knows of them as two people. She's 10 years old. She sees this guy named Ben. Obviously, we don't know how the story is going to end. This is a new story being told. And then later, as an adult, she knows that she has to reach out to this Obi-Wan Kenobi that she knows is a trustworthy. There's no break in canon. It makes sense.
Yeah, I bet we don't see much of her. I bet it kind of is just to get him off the planet, and then he kind of goes on his path to go, however it ends up panning out with him. But I think whoever he joins up with towards the end, that'll be his transition into the next phase of the series.
Yeah, I mean, it's already there. I mean, like, we're 10 years into his solace on Tatooine, and he already is this grumpy old man. Like, and he has, in a lot of ways, like Joe said, closed himself off from the Force. The way, I forget the other Jedi's name, but the way he treated him, he's like, dude, give up. The fight is lost. Like, if I have any advice for you, go bury that thing in the Dune Sea and run, hide, live a normal life. Like, he is turning into that hermit, and that the hope isn't there right now.
I can't even talk about this one because Tim has not seen episode 9. Damn, we're so close, Tim. We gotta just.
If maybe we would have kept and got it done first, we could be talking about it right now.
Tried.
I know. It's such a small point, but I'm sorry. I'll circle back to it. Yeah, the leader thing with how he talks about Padme. Let's talk about Ewan McGregor for a second, as I know we will throughout this entire episode. But damn, does he nail the emotion? We lost, right? It's over. Give up the fight. The peril there, the depression, even his job, so to speak. Right? He's at a plant, and
it's just slicing meat. In that one moment where he wanted to speak up, where the guy only got half the paycheck, and like he barely had a fire lit in his eyes. He's just like, you can see just a flicker of Obi-Wan wanting to say something, but he's still just sitting there like, no, man, like I'm. It's not me right now. It's not me anymore. It's just so heartbreaking. And yeah, you're right, dude. Ewan McGregor. And we'll talk about another moment, like maybe my favorite moment in all of Star, like up there in terms of like the most well acted moments in Star Wars, when Obi-Wan finds out that Anakin's still alive. Just the shock on his face. The camera just sits on him, and just the dread in Ewan McGregor's face. It's like, it's insane.
Let's talk about that for a moment. So. It's funny, I've seen in limited discussion online, and IGN lists this as like a burning question. They're like, Obi-Wan didn't know that Anakin survived. And to me,
what did he know?
Why would you assume that he survived? He was burning up on the edge of that cliff on Mustafar at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Like, all of that kind of took me aback, but at the same time, it was such a back burner item for me that, Obi-Wan totally. I don't know where I'm going with this. It's not a surprise to me that he didn't know.
But you forget that he doesn't know. You forget that eventually there has to be a realization for Obi-Wan Kenobi that Anakin is still alive, and the fact that we get to see that, it's like, oh my god.
Yep.
Yes, and by the way, the rage and all of what was happening with Anakin Skywalker towards the end as he becomes Vader, as we see him on Mustafar, he's not just alive. He's been looking for you for 10 years.
When Reva says, he's coming for you, Obi-Wan, dude, like straight horror vibes. And that's the first thing she says about Vader. He's coming for you, Obi-Wan. And just he instantly knows what that means. What that means. It just shakes him to his core. What a cool story.
Yeah. Has he ever? I mean, we'll find out. He's heard of the name Darth Vader, right? But like, does he know what Anakin looks like now in the suit? Probably not, because Vader is presented in this canon as an enforcer. He's a behind-the-scenes guy. He's not at the head of the Empire with the Emperor. The Emperor is there. He's got Vader and his Inquisitors, but they're kind of under the radar, right? Because he's got to keep control from a PR standpoint.
And also worth noting, this is only 10 years in. Like, the Senate is still a thing. Like, this isn't like full-blown Emperor can do whatever he wants and, blow up a planet with the Death Star type thing. Like, this is, there's still a lot going on behind the scenes with the Empire.
Yes, that's another good point. But man, that whole sequence also, by the way, there's so many callbacks, and this is all purposely done. We always talk about George Lucas saying how Star Wars rhymes, but Obi-Wan, when he's being hunted in that sequence from Reva, reminds
a cool
me.
Character, by the way.
Yes.
We'll dive into her, but it reminds me of Vader hunting Luke on the second Death Star in Return of the Jedi. What is Vader talking about? Leia. Oh my gosh, talk about full circle there. Yep. Obi-Wan is protecting Leia. Blows my mind. And this is kind of the level of detail and careful detail that I think was missing from some of the sequel trilogy stuff. Yeah. And so far, this is not disappointed. And oh my gosh, I can't believe that this exists. But
Crazy.
Riva, let's talk about that character. Even
Yeah.
from the trailers, the way she screams at Obi-Wan and basically says she says he's coming for you. Whew.
Intense.
Nice performance.
I didn't expect the angle on her to be like this, this wild card. The Grand Inquisitor doesn't trust her. She's on this like crazy mission for Obi-Wan to, presumably prove herself to Vader. I didn't expect this angle for her. So it's super interesting that she's kind of going against the grain.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it, right? I mean, like she apparently, from what we see, kills the Grand Inquisitor, which we assume that doesn't stick. If you're familiar with, any of the other canon stories, like the Grand Inquisitor is around in Rebels, and we see his demise there. But yeah, it's just super interesting.
Badass. That's what I like about her.
Oh, dude, she's so badass. Yeah, she's awesome.
And just like I love how you see the compare and contrast a lot with the Inquisitors, is you kind of have the Grand Inquisitors like, oh, the key to hunting Jedi is patience.
Right. They're gonna hunt themselves. Yeah, exactly. Right. And you see that right off the bat. Her in that cantina, they're questioning people. They're trying to figure stuff out. The Grand Inquisitor already knows the Jedi's there. He tells the whole story. Like, he knows what's going on. He's methodical about it. And then she immediately throws the knife because I want the answer now. Right. Like, so it's
chops off the person's hand just.
Oh yeah, that was ruthless.
I don't think you understand. Like, just like, I don't know, like, whatever. Like, thanks. I said it. I'm gonna do it. Not an empty threat. So
the knife thing was pretty cool because immediately we see the kind of this infighting, with the Inquisitors. I love that angle. I did not see that coming.
Same.
So my dad just texted me. He just started this about 10 minutes ago.
Oh boy.
I know he tuned in as well. I was like, Dad, hang on, spoilers. Don't watch our
don't watch.
Here.
No.
Yeah. But he said, man, so far really good. Loving all the flashback sequences. Which we talked about. Also, I gotta say, it is my dad's birthday, so happy birthday, Dad!
Hey, happy birthday, Papa Leroy.
Always appreciate your support here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then shout out to Gormst716 Ryan in the chat. We appreciate you joining there. Yeah, let's talk about that. Lars showing no fear.
Dude,
I'd love that sequence.
So savage. We saw it in the trailer, but we get a little bit of an extended version of it.
I did not think, based on the trailer, she was gonna hone in on him. But she does. And I love what happens in this exchange. By the way, Joel Edgerton is back from Revenge of the Sith and Attack of the Clones.
Right,
or Attack of the Clone, I should say. That is super exciting. But the exchange there, she asks a few questions. But one in particular, she talks about the Jedi, and he's like, I have no love for the Jedi. That's an honest answer.
The Jedi are vermin. We kill vermin on my farm. Yeah, like he's legitimately being honest. Yeah, he despises the Jedi. Yeah, for sure.
There's that border, right? Like, of course, just maybe 10%. He's protecting Obi-Wan Kenobi, but at the end, Ben comes up to him and says, "Thank you," and I didn't do it for you.
Not for you.
Oh. He does it for Luke. It's so beautiful because we don't see much of that relationship, right? We only see what we got really in A New Hope, which is short-lived. But it's just
how much he cares too, even when he's like Luke disappears, just to go right on top of the building because they're looking over like Luke, where are you? Like you just see how much he cares,
That was a little comical too, right? Like shows Luke being just a kid. And even though this was in the trailer, I love that Luke essentially looks like Anakin in the pod race from episode 1.
Yep.
And how about that Easter egg with Obi-Wan trying to give him the gift of the ship that Luke flies around, the model ship from A New Hope?
Same one he's holding.
Are you kidding me right now? Oh my gosh.
Really cool.
So good. So that's a storyline that I've been wanting to see more of. I love from the second trailer we got where Obi-Wan tells him he will be trained basically at the right time. And he throws it right back at him. He's like you trained his father.
Yes.
Because that has produced so many amazing memes. I can't even tell you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Really good.
But damn, guys, like the Inquisitors, talk about them for a minute. How do we like how they've been executed as a whole so far? We've got a few that they've honed in on.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's it's awesome. I love the Inquisitors. Like, what a cool idea. I think my introduction to the Inquisitors, was Jedi Fallen Order. And since then, I've watched Rebels and I've read the Vader comic where that focuses on the Inquisitors, and like that idea and that part of this era of Star Wars, Vader's Inquisitors, it's just become one of my favorite things about Star Wars. So like anytime we can get more, I would love, like, I want to get to the point where like there's like a full roster of Inquisitors. We know them all, like every brother, every sister, and like we've got backstories on them all. Quick thing, I was watching like a bunch of reactions to the episodes and stuff like that. There's I don't know if it's a theory, whatever you want to call it, but in that first flashback at the Jedi Temple, there is it's that Jedi who was training the younglings, and the clones come in and she starts defending, and all of a sudden she goes down and the younglings kind of huddle around her. There's a young girl in the middle who has darker skin, and people are thinking like that might be Reva. That might be like she, because even someone says they're maybe Obi-Wan says they're mostly former Jedi who have turned to the dark side. So I would love to dive into her story, much like we get Trilla's story in Jedi Fallen Order. So I
love Trilla. Trilla's what a development if you have not played Jedi Fallen Order. John, I saw that as well.
I didn't see it until I saw someone else react to it. But yeah,
it's crazy.
That theory, I think, holds some water here.
They're clearly like setting the story up to also tell us Reva's story. And I don't know who I saw like talk about this, but their kind of spin on it was that maybe Reva is so angry at Obi-Wan and wants to catch him so bad because he failed Anakin. Maybe she has that sense of like not really allegiance to the Jedi, but the sense of like, you failed the galaxy. This is all that's left to do is to hunt the Jedi, and like you failed Anakin. And I'm coming for you because of that. Like you're the reason my life is like this. You're the reason that the Empire is like this. Whatever. Like you failed Anakin, and you failed as a Jedi Master. And so like now my goal is to hunt you down. So that would be
she went to be the reason she went to the dark side.
Right. Exactly. So like what an interesting possible theory. Like just an angle for her. Who knows? It could be a lot of things. But
John, what a twist that would be to really give a villain a different spin in Star Wars, to have this resentment, to be like, I don't want to be like this, but I have to be because I can't control it because of what happened, because you failed the most powerful Jedi, right? The chosen one.
He was the chosen one. You failed as a master.
And kind of to your point too, Trilla, that happened, right? Her master failed her if you play Jedi Fallen Order. And I don't think she ever wanted to be that way. But she got on that path. Because she got captured, her master failed her. She got tortured by the Empire. Then it was like, well, join or die, right? So I can see that being a theme because it's an Inquisitor theme.
I wonder how much of that Trilla storyline is going to bleed into Reva, just because maybe like they like it so much and they don't necessarily think that everybody's going to play the video game. Like my first theory was that like, so we see the Grand Inquisitor go down. And my first thought is, okay, like he's gonna come back eventually, and maybe he kills Trilla, or maybe Trilla's failing and Vader kills Trilla. But then I'm like, wait a minute, that's what I've been meaning to say Reva, but that's what they did with Trilla, right? So I'm like, oh, could they do that twice? Like, could they do that same thing? But a lot of people who are Star Wars fans haven't played Fallen Order, so I'm curious to see where this ends up.
I like the Grand Inquisitor so much because it's more lightsabers.
He's got two.
Very underrated.
They spin too.
You add those in. They have lightsabers, and then it opens the door for Obi-Wan to have to use his lightsaber more. Like it's all these lightsabers.
Tim,
could you not love lightsabers?
What if I told you the Grand Inquisitor can use his lightsaber to fly down like a helicopter?
I did hear. It's insane.
We're getting it, baby. We gotta get it. Inquisicopter.
That is such a great episode of Rebels. But that is a funny point.
I did hear that.
He just slowly coasts down. It's like a Mary Poppins thing, but we got to get some kind of reference. I think we talked about this at one point, but
so how about that though? The first time we're seeing that lightsaber style in live action with the the blade and the circle around it so it can spin,
right?
And they use it, right? They use it to essentially kill / torture that one citizen. So
also, that are you guys aware that that's apparently a dude from the Red Hot Chili Peppers? I don't know. I don't know nothing about
it. I didn't know that.
I don't know about. Yeah, Trevor texted me. He's like, that was what's his name? He's got a really weird name.
Was it the drummer or something like that?
I don't know. His name's like Reek or something. That's not right. I don't know what it is. Yeah. I don't know. The Chili Peppers, but he's like, oh, it was him. I'm like, who? Oh, Flea. It's Flea. Sorry, everybody who's like cringing right now that I don't know anything about that. Sorry, but yeah, Trevor texted me. He's like, dude, the Flea cameo. I'm like, Did you misspell Leia? That's literally the first thing I thought was like, did your autocorrect ruin Leia somehow? But I'm like, Flea. He goes, it's the guy from Red Hot Chili Peppers. He was like the bounty hunter. I'm like, oh, I had no clue. That's cool though.
I would never have known. Yeah, I love that. That's awesome, especially if he's a drummer. Damn it.
How about Lola? Can we just talk about Lola?
Lola's a good
God,
droid. That's a
what
good droid.
name, too.
We gotta talk about
Oh.
droids. We always talk about droids in the show. I feel like we have to at least mention it.
That's
And
my
I
kind of
literally,
droid
this is-
right there. I don't like the
this isn't-
humanoid droids. I like the Lolas of the world, the BD1s.
That's
Those
a
are my
very
droids.
BD1 like droid.
Absolutely.
Right? So in the realm of, it's kind of like a cute puppy.
So it's pretty funny. I literally texted, me and John were texting, and I saw Lola, and I texted John like, "Oh my God, Lola!" And then literally I put down my phone, I look at the screen, and I see her get smashed, and I'm like, "What?" Like I just texted John about this, and now she's gone.
Lola's coming back. Obi-Wan's gonna fix her.
Yeah,
Someone's
for sure.
gonna fix her.
For sure, he gave that little sign like, "Oh, she's strong. She'll come back." I'm like,
Or maybe
there we go.
Leia is like her brother and her father, and she's good at fixing
She's
things.
the tinkerer.
So,
Yeah. You know what? Let's go back to Leia. Like I was a little worried that that they would overdo Leia in her force sensitivity, and like they would show her maybe like moving something with her hand or like accidentally doing something like this. I like how they double down on like the Leia that we know, in that her force powers are it's her mind. Like she's strong with the force, and the fact that she's so freaking smart. She's the smartest person in the room. She's a leader like her mother, and she uses her connection to the force unknowingly, obviously, to get into people's heads and to just be the smartest person. I thought that was awesome.
I love basically everything about this performance, by the way. And one interaction in particular with Bail Organa after she tells off her cousin, I think, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way he kind of basically says, like, you're going to run this place. You're going to be an awesome senator because you don't want to be, right? That's a real world thing. Like, you don't want to be a politician. And at the end, he's like, but just apologize. Like, as much as I hate that, I love it.
It's so Leia.
It's so Leia, and what a nice thing to see more of them on screen, because we've really not seen that. And I, as an aside, I'm in the middle still, because I almost never read, of reading the book Leia by Claudia Gray. It's one of my favorite Star Wars authors these days, and it talks about Leia's time on Alderaan, probably around the time she's, I would say, 14, 15 years old instead of 10 years old like we see her in Kenobi. And some of what was in that book with the banquets and how they get together, and even the guy says, "I'm just here to eat your food," because they're rich. Like, all of that is totally from the novel. And it's just one more awesome tie-in that we've seen in this Disney canon so far.
What an asshole. My man literally says, "I'm not here to solve slavery. I'm here to eat your food." Jesus, man.
I love that she's nice to droids too. I feel like that was
that was definitely a clear point. Yeah,
she mentions no life form is below us, kind of. I think is almost how she put it.
Right. Her cousin says, like, "Why do you use manners on lower life forms?" Yeah.
I absolutely. It's funny. Like, even our Amazon Echo, I'm like, "Thank you, Alexa."
Right.
But like in that sense, I love that she's just ahead of everyone in so many ways. Whether she's how she treats people, how she's diplomatic, how she stands up for the little guy. This girl, I forget her name, Bailey, I believe is her first name. She captures the essence of Princess Leia. What a casting. Even silly, stupid stuff, like from an appearance standpoint down to the nose. Like, look at this the next time you watch this. You're going to be like, oh my gosh, it's Carrie Fisher. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's really good. We've seen child actors, maybe not be the best choice, and we've seen the Jake Lloyds come in and get their fair share of criticism, whether earned or not. But I think this is kind of a home run.
How about the place that Obi-Wan has to go to? What is that called? I forget the name of the planet.
Yeah,
the metropolitan area.
Daiyu. Yeah. Daiyu. Really, very cool.
I think it reminded me of like a metropolitan, like Japanese era style. Like
they said it inspired by like
retro
Shanghai. Yep.
It's awesome. I loved it. I loved that whole sequence that entire time. I was like, this is what I want. I would love it if there's a Star Wars game and you're in like an area like that. Would be.
We were just talking about that. What if the next Jedi game goes there and you
I
get
to
to
see them like incorporating like the wall jump like up to the rooftops, and you could. I just be so good.
It was like Coruscant light, so to speak, right? Like a lot of elements from that, but a little less busy.
Yeah. speaking of planets and seeing stuff like that, man, seeing Alderaan, being able to see like a seeing
emotional.
Alderaan, so cool to get it, like so many scenes there. But what I couldn't get over was the aesthetic. It looks great, but it pays such an homage to the prequels. It's so respectful to the prequels because it's like, hey, we know that these were like very, very green screen and very, very clean. Like maybe that wouldn't have been the choice for today, but we're gonna pay respect to that. And we're gonna make that look really good, and it looks really freaking good.
What about I'm gonna butcher the name. Kamali Ninja's character?
Kumail Nanjiani. Yeah.
Yes,
Kumail's awesome, yeah.
Awesome. I love him as a character, as an actor.
I was worried
so
about
good.
what that character was gonna look like. I'm like, is this a serious character? If he's goofy, is it gonna be too goofy? But I thought he brought just the right amount of humor to that role. And I actually loved when Ben Kenobi came across him for the first time and got a little bit angry that he was taking advantage of people.
And acting as a Jedi to do so.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I mean, you knew right away he wasn't actually a Jedi. Like, from the very first second you meet him, you're like, something's off here. But I like that in the end, he's kind of like, I need to redeem myself. And again, just the right amount of humor to kind of change things up.
I would say it's more humor than we're used to out of like a specific character. Like he is a funny character. Like we don't really get that kind of a character in Star Wars, but it fits. Kumail's a perfect casting for it. Yeah, it's I mean he's a slummy guy scamming people out of money with magnets and show tricks, stuff like that. Like it's really cool. Great actor, great.
And I love how he stood up to the Inquisitor at the end, and she's like, "You're no Jedi."
Dude, that was so funny. That was like that might be one of the funniest scenes in Star Wars in a while. He's like, "You found me finally. I've been waiting." Oh my god.
What's I found you now?
1 million. It was at 1 million. He just keeps going. Like she's not buying it. He just keeps doubling down. It's so funny.
It reminded me very much of his time in Eternals, and he's the best part of that movie, by the way.
Easily.
100%.
Where he is vlogging essentially the whole thing.
Yeah,
like that was exactly what
I love his little his employee who's like running around the camera and entire Eternals like.
Yeah, I was gonna say he's not vlogging. He's got a full-on camera crew.
Yeah.
It's a worthwhile addition that I was skeptical of, but I'm happy to see that it's paid off, at least so far. John Williams is back to score the main theme, and it's only fitting, of course, that it's John Williams, but that he has scored everything Obi-Wan Kenobi throughout Star Wars. By the way, he's 90 years old, which is crazy.
Wow,
but still insane. Coming up with the classics. Yeah.
I'm 31 and trying to go to bed at 10 o'clock at night.
Struggling to record podcasts at 10. I thought that Obi-Wan's theme's it's good. It's not like I'm so used to these Star Wars shows having like these bombastic themes like a Mando or Boba Fett. So like it's
subtle.
It's subtle and it's back to kind of like what we're used to from the films.
Yeah.
It's got that John Williams flavor on it for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny. I was talking about how things I feel like tied into some of the sequels trilogy. Obi-Wan, with how Luke is portrayed just a little bit from a depressed old man standpoint, if you will. Even his job, where he was cutting the meat, and at the end with the Gonk droid, John, you mentioned how they short him, the one guy in front of Ben Kenobi. That's totally Rey on Jakku. Today it's a quarter portion. Yesterday was a half portion. There was a lot of that was going on. There are other moments that I'm sure will come back to me, but anything we're missing, anything we haven't talked about with Kenobi that we want to get to here for these first two episodes.
I'm sure there is, but like
I gotta watch it again. That's on my list. I almost did it again. I was like, I want to talk about it, and then I want to watch it again.
Yeah, for sure.
But my question for you guys is: there any character you foresee us seeing from prequels, the original trilogy, popping up? Obviously, we got Leia, Bail Organa, a lot of that stuff. Mine would be Cal Kestis. I think we see Cal somewhere.
That'd be so cool.
Awesome.
That would be so cool.
My hope, I guess, more than a prediction. So
yeah, that's a hope for me too. A realistic prediction is like I don't think there's a chance that we don't see Qui-Gon. I mean, it's been
oh yeah,
it was focused on in the flashback. It was the last thing that Yoda said to Obi-Wan.
He even tried during the movie. He said
in the show. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. There's too much. There's too much. I mean, again, maybe it's the thing where he struggles and he can never get to it. But I just feel like that would not be. That wouldn't be as fun. We got to see Liam Neeson as Qui-Gon here. I mean, he came back for Clone Wars. He's got to come back for the live action version.
Right.
And his voice is in Rise of Skywalker as well, which you're about to find out, Tim. It's not a spoiler.
Just a voice.
So, Cal Kestis, man.
Kale's like
He's so
that's
awesome.
the pie in the sky. That's the dream. Like these are the
Yes.
two eras. Like these are the two big properties we're dealing with right now in this era of Star Wars. Is Obi-Wan and the Jedi games.
I can't get my mind off of Kale because
Give me a Cal Kestis movie. Whew.
like I love Cameron Monaghan. We've talked about it. I loved him in Gotham. That was before Jedi Fallen Order, so that's how I knew him. He was also in, oh my gosh, this series is getting away from me. But getting him live action, even for a flashback, would be awesome.
Yes.
So Ian McDermott has talked at Star Wars Celebration. He said, "Don't get your hopes up about seeing Palpatine in this series, but his presence is always felt." I don't know what that means. There was a lot of that kind of deception going on in the sequel trilogy. What I would like, I think JT would probably agree with this and say this if he was on the show tonight. I want a flashback. I want to see Obi-Wan. I want to see Anakin, and I want to see Ahsoka Tano in the Clone Wars, if not for 10 seconds. But if you give me a 3-minute flashback with some sort of John Williams low-key strings playing, I'm going to lose it. That's what I want to see. Real pie in the sky that I don't think is probably going to happen. They've kind of mentioned her indirectly, but something Padme, even if that is, again, just a quick flashback.
Oh,
Natalie Portman,
dude.
she's working with Disney again,
She's
right?
too ripped.
She's
She
about to
can't.
be in
She can't
Thor.
pull it off. She's
There's
too ripped.
No way she fits into her normal
They're
clothes.
gonna have to Captain America 1 like CGI her.
She's ripped now, so I don't know. That might be like my crazy off the wall. I don't think it's even going to happen, but I'd love to see it. Tim, I love the idea of Cal Kestis. Before the series premiered, I always wanted Palpatine to be there, even just for a little bit, to be like, Vader, let's talk about Kenobi and let's sort through these feelings, right? Because Vader had these issues with his feelings towards Luke. So what does that look like for Kenobi? I think we can surmise, but I'd love to hear Anakin talk about it. But maybe, hey, that's what we're missing. Anakin in the back to tank at the end.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a big one. That's true. We get it. We finally get him. That was going to be another one that I threw out there as like something that I want. It's an easy one, I think. But like, what I would say is I want more Vader than I expect to get, because I don't expect to really get that much. And I don't know, like I don't expect to get that much, but I hope I'm wrong. I really do hope I'm wrong. And I've been watching I've been watching every single press junket that Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor have done, and like they've talked about the fact that they faced off, and like Ewan has said, it's pretty menacing seeing you in that costume, 7 foot tall in front of me. Like they square off for sure. They have to, right? Like I just hope we get more Vader than I expect to.
So hear me out. What if this happens? What if it goes from being Obi-Wan's perspective to flashing to Anakin's perspective for an episode and being all about Anakin for an episode?
Okay, let me raise you one there. So we
That'd
get
be
Anakin for
crazy.
We get Anakin for an episode, but it's Anakin on Mustafar as all that's happening. It's Anakin in the suit as all of that torture is happening. Because this suit, by the way, is not just sustaining his life. It's also hurting him quite a bit.
Yeah.
Him existing is supposed to be painful. So, like, holy shit. Tim, that would be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
There's a lot you can do with Anakin.
Because I feel like he has to be in the slot. Like, why else would you cast him if he's not going to be another main focal point?
Another Anakin-related hope in that ties back into, even if it's not Clone Wars stuff, just give me more Hayden Christensen, even if that's just other flashbacks too. Maybe it's another Order 66 flashback where show him kill those younglings. Did I think that was going to happen for a second though? Dude. Yo, the second they showed those younglings with the helmets, like my reaction was I came off the high of that montage. I'm like, oh, that was awesome. I see younglings. I'm like, oh, we see Jedi. I'm like, oh, we see younglings. Oh no, they're gonna die. I immediately thought.
This is what I thought. I think you're on the same path as me. We got that group of younglings, and one of them says, "What are we gonna do now?" And they say, "Run." I think.
Yes.
I thought they were gonna say.
Go find Master Skywalker. Right, exactly. Master Skywalker.
Oh, please don't do that. Guys, Marissa in text message says, yes, bring back Padme.
Oh, that'd
So
be
I
awesome.
we get a little Padme love there.
Padme or Padme? I don't think I don't think you can bring back Padme. It's now Chadme.
Chadme, yeah. She's too
right
hip.
now.
She can't do it. But JT
No
in
way.
chat, something tells me that Anakin let a lot of younglings survive, hence the Inquisitors. I don't know, man. I think Anakin was like full on. Just go rewatch Revenge of the Sith and see how gone he was and see how he was ready to start an empire, right? Like he's like, you and I can overthrow the Chancellor, like whatever. Like I don't think there was any light left in Anakin at that moment. I don't know if he's letting any younglings go.
My bet is go ahead.
My dad texted me and says, I want to see this on the big screen. Tim, go rent that theater we were
Yes,
talking
I'll go
about.
try.
Let's do it. Yeah.
I didn't tell John this. I was telling Joe that I looked into renting a theater for just see if you could still do it. You can't do it right now anymore.
I'm sure some theaters are allowed.
Somewhere.
Like whether maybe like the Dip Center, like the one at the Eastern Hills or something like that. Oh, the one in East Aurora, I know you can rent that old theater. That you can definitely rent that one.
We should do it.
Dude, we should wait till the series is over and just like binge the whole thing.
Binge it 6 hours worth.
Yes.
So yeah, dude, it's crazy. So, but yeah, my prediction for the next episode would be awesome. My prediction would be awesome. It'd be awesome if it flips to Darth Vader and Reva coming to Darth Vader and saying like, "Hey, I found Obi-Wan. This is how I got him. Like, this is what's going on," and him like it's showing like his perspective of like going to find him.
That would be incredible. I don't think they do it. I don't think they do
it.
Imagine
if they did. I'd be like,
dude, 100%. I think that this is all you give this show completely to Ewan McGregor, right? Like this is not.
But it would be awesome.
100%. I'm with you, dude. I would freaking love it.
Show after?
Oh, I would love it.
What about this just came to mind. We got Tamora Morrison as a Clone Wars.
Oh yeah, we forgot to see.
Yes.
Yeah, I forgot to talk about that. That was so cool. I love that.
Looks good, right? You know, beard growing out, all that stuff, scraggly, but
what a cool theory! Like, you never think of that.
Upon. Towards the end of Clone Wars or maybe even Rebels, they talked about it like in a throwaway that there were veterans. You don't think about that. This is Star Wars. It's not real, right? But no, there's real life consequences within that universe.
Right. Yeah. In the Vader comics, there you get some dialogue between clone troopers that are like, hey, we're on the way out. They've got these stormtroopers, and Vader doesn't want us around in X, Y, and Z. So like, yeah, there's something's got to happen to these clone troopers, and they age quickly. So we see that.
Plus, they probably signed Tamora Morrison for like 20 episodes worth of Boba Fett, and then they're like, we're going to get half of the season of Mando, so
right.
we need to use you somehow. Get our money's worth.
That's so funny.
Man, I love this line of thinking. Like, who do we want to see pop up? Because I'll tell you this right now, I didn't even think we'd get more than what we've already gotten of Luke. But if you told me that we were going to get more of Leia plus really the mission for what Obi-Wan, why he's back in the game, as I've been saying,
yeah,
I would have said you're crazy.
I would have never expected to see Leia in the series. I would have never thought. Yeah,
I had no idea. I can't believe they kept that under wraps. There wasn't spoiled.
The fact that it didn't leak and spoil that's pretty incredible.
And again, not even just Leia, like Bail Organa, having him come back and be in the show, I feel like would have been a big dead giveaway, and no one even. You know what?
Even that I wouldn't have thought. I wouldn't have expected Leia. Like I could have seen Bail Organa being like just like Obi-Wan has a conversation via 4K Force or whatever. Like
right.
Yeah, 4K FaceTime.
Hello.
Force time. That's what we call it. Force time.
Force time.
The series as a whole, we've only seen 2 episodes, but this absolutely feels like the anthology movie it was supposed to be spliced up.
Yeah.
Where it was going to be one of the follow-ups. We had Rogue One, we had Solo, we were going to be getting a Boba Fett story, which
Obi-Wan.
ended up being a series that you could take or leave, but you were going to be getting an Obi-Wan movie. And this totally feels like an extended movie that has been spliced up so far.
Right.
And it's different. It's different from Mando and Boba Fett for a number of reasons. Those were very, very episodic, small, self-contained stories.
This feels so cinematic.
It feels cinematic. It looks that way. It sounds that way. It feels like the narrative's going that way. But they've even promoted it as a limited series, kind of a 6-part movie almost, without saying movie. So I'm like, what else you got? Because this is what I want more of.
I would be curious to see the
Yeah.
budget on these episodes compared to a Book of Boba Fett, because it's got to be tenfold. Like they are going all in with this, and I love it. I can't wait. We have 4 more episodes. I hope all of the runtimes are like 40 minutes plus. I hope we have like hours left of this, which I imagine we will. I don't think they pull a Mando and give us like a 23-minute episode. Like they have a story to tell.
So I jumped, or when my alarm went off this morning, I set it for 5, and the first thing I did was check the Disney Plus
The
app
app,
to
me
see
too.
how long the episodes were, because I was like, could I get a little more sleep here? So I went to Disney Plus and I was like, oh yeah, I can. Set my alarm for 5:30 because I've been beat this week, as I've been saying. Something to do with a triple overtime hockey game too. And
Weird.
I could not get back to sleep.
Yeah,
I laid there until probably 5:20, and then I said, screw it.
it's over.
Let's freaking do this. And we got there and watched it, and it was awesome.
I like that there's no titles for the episodes, at least now. Sometimes they go back and change that, but I like how it's just part 1 and part 2 so far. I think with Mando, they did that. Like, it was part 1, and then they gave him an episode title a few days later, or something like that. But for something tells me with Obi-Wan, it's just gonna be part 1 through 6.
Because of the child, right? They were.
Oh,
they were
that was the
okay to
reason.
Spoil it on Twitter, but not on Disney Plus.
Sons of
Yeah. Ryan in the chat, he said, anyone think Qui-Gon was going to answer Kenobi when he reached out? 100%.
Yeah, I thought. And then when Bail Organa showed up, I thought that was Qui-Gon for a second. I'm like, oh, it's a hooded figure. Is that Qui-Gon? I wasn't looking close enough. But yeah, I thought so too. Thought it was a very good chance.
So, tell me, boys, are we seeing Qui-Gon or are we just hearing him?
We're seeing him. We're seeing a Force ghost for sure. He's going to be standing in Obi-Wan's cave. He's going to be there. We're going to see a full live action Qui-Gon.
At the end.
Liam Neeson. Oh, I think before that.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to save that for like a final pop. I think that's going to happen. I think that's going to be.
Because I think Qui-Gon gives him the advice going into whatever the Vader confrontation looks like.
Yeah,
right?
I can see that.
That's Qui-Gon's thing.
It's going to be
Anakin
him
was the chosen
fully regaining his connection with the Force, and I don't think they save that for like the final scene. Right? Like he needs to get to that point where he's so far gone from the Force, like he needs to get back in touch with the Force, and I think that him reaching out to Qui-Gon and getting a response will be like the penultimate,
But on the flip side, John, is it maybe that he doesn't get all the way back and that helps them bridge the gap between the crazy fight we saw in episode 3 and the old man fight we saw in episode 4?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
Time will tell.
Time will tell. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it won't tell at all.
Or we have a badass fight like episode 3.
I would be all
They're
about
going to
that.
fight again. Whether, whatever it is, there's going to be a confrontation.
I would like to see Crazy Vader, all in.
We didn't get a blue lightsaber ignition. I was totally expecting the lightsaber to be ignited at least once. In these first 2 episodes.
At the end, I was like, "It's happening. It's gonna be. It's gonna happen."
I expected a battle. Yeah, I expected a face-off between Obi-Wan and Reva. I thought it was happening. I did not think that.
I thought he was gonna kill the. I thought maybe there'd be like something where he hurts the Grand Inquisitor or something like that, where he would fight. But I didn't expect no fight.
Yeah, same.
You want to know something funny? One thing I forgot. So Obi-Wan gets to the desert and somehow finds those lightsabers really quickly. By the way,
Jedi.
When he digs that out, I'm like, oh, his lightsaber. But I totally forgot
Got Anakin's.
the Skywalker lightsaber. And there's such poetic justice that those 2 lightsabers were buried together. Because I saw something online recently. It's kind of a theory. We always talk about how Anakin Skywalker died when he became Darth Vader. But we don't talk about how Obi-Wan Kenobi died and became Ben Kenobi, right? Like his essence, his light went out. Everything he cared about was gone. It was Padme, all the Jedi, his best friend in Anakin. He didn't have a lot to live for at that point. He's only here to make sure Luke is okay. And to me, I thought that was so beautiful because those lightsabers buried in the desert together kind of encapsulated that.
Yeah, that's excellent.
It's just, man, it's so next level, all of it. I can't wait. We don't have to wait that long, guys. The next one is on Wednesday, not Friday.
I did not know that waking up today. I thought I was waiting a whole week after I didn't realize they were going back to Wednesday. So heck yeah, dude.
This is crazy because with Mando, I was like, hey, this is cool. This is fun. I can't wait for the next week. Boba Fett, I was kind of like, how many episodes am I behind?
Yeah.
With Kenobi, I'm like, let's freaking go. Let's get this done.
Right.
But man, just one thing with the Skywalker saber before I forget. Maz Kanata always says in Force Awakens, that's a story for another time. I want that addressed at some point.
It will be.
I got to figure that out. But anything else we're missing on the first 2 episodes of Kenobi?
I'm sure there was a lot.
Yeah, we'll think of something.
Yeah, it was so much fun, man. I'm so glad to be back in this world with these characters.
Me too.
Man, this. I know we're off the hype and we're off the excitement, and I don't want to say there's kind of this bias, but this is about as excited as I've been for Star Wars, maybe since, not more, but since Force Awakens.
Easily.
Yeah.
And loved Rogue One. Unapologetically loved Last Jedi on my second viewing. Enjoyed Solo, Rise of Skywalker. We'll talk about Tim, but Mando was a nice return. This is something special. This is like
We're
this
home.
has elements of The Force Awakens to me, where it's this was my generation of Star Wars. This is my Obi-Wan Kenobi, my Ewan McGregor, soon my Hayden Christensen, right, with Darth Vader. Just I can't wait to see where this goes. Hope everyone in twitch.tv/the Geekiverse joins us we're going to make this a weekly chat. By the way, we're calling the show Hello There. We've got the logo up. I didn't say it at the beginning because I was so excited to see what John was going to look like as Obi-Wan Kenobi. Damn it was beautiful. But yeah, hope you'll join us for the ride there. Watch the episodes back at youtube.com/the Geekiverse. Listen on podcast services around the globe, whether you're on your lunch break, at work, or on your way to work. I think it's always a good listen. John, we talked a little bit about another Star Wars property tonight. If you want to give that a tease, as well as our video game talk show.
Oh yeah. So we are just about to wrap up Star Wars Reviewed. We've done them all. We've done the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy. We've done Rogue One. We've done Solo. We are about to wrap up that sequel trilogy. We've got Rise of Skywalker coming up next. Hopefully next week. Tim has not seen the movie yet. Tim has seen everything Star Wars, with maybe not Rebels and stuff like that, but whatever. All of the mainline Star Wars. He's working on it. Tim has seen everything Star Wars besides the way the Skywalker saga ends. So that's going to be so much fun to sit down with him and see his thoughts on that. So that's coming soon. Joe mentioned, hey, if you like video games, great time to be a Star Wars fan and a video game fan. We just got the announcement of Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the next Respawn Star Wars game. So we'll be chatting about that. We've got our video game podcast called Busy Sticks. We do that usually weekly if there's something to talk about, but I'm sure there'll be plenty to talk about with Star Wars Jedi Survivor coming up soon.
John, first of all, great job saying Jedi Survivor. I would have struggled.
Trying so hard, dude. It's trying so hard.
Amazing job. Second of all, with Busy Sticks and video games, we've got quite the schedule coming out. Next week, we've got a state of play for PlayStation. We're going to hear about PSVR 2 and some of the other games coming out this year. And then the week after, we've got Xbox. We got the showcase.
Wow.
So we got some big times coming up here. We've got to get back on the train there.
Joe,
cannot wait about all of it.
You might say that podcasts are our specialty.
Oh, I love it. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, this is where the fun begins. Tim, if you enjoy social media, Geekiverse is on, well, a different format these days. Where can you find the Geekiverse?
Yeah.
You want to hear some Star Wars chatter?
I know you guys have a good thing going on TikTok, and I know you don't know about this, but John and I had some ideas, so we'll kind of get into it at some point. And, won't spoil anything there. But yeah, also Facebook, pretty active, Twitch, and then also on Twitter. Twitter's my main platform at Tim Tales, so catch me in there, and usually tweeting about gaming-related stuff, or now Star Wars. So catch me in that.
So uncivilized. All right, guys, we're missing one big thing. June 5th, we've got something coming up here. We're going to be doing a mega live stream.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Right. It keeps escaping because I can't get Obi-Wan off the brain. So, June 5th, that's a Sunday, not a Saturday like we normally do. It's Sunday, June 5th, we're going to be streaming for a good chunk of the day. We're going to be doing what we do here. We're going to be playing video games, NHL, some Overcooked, I can't even tell you. I think I told actually Tim this. I didn't tell John this. We should do some head-to-head Guess the Star Wars character live on the stream.
Dude, we'll do that for an hour. That's going to be so much fun.
An hour, everybody. All right. And it's going to be awesome.
Also to be determined that we may or may not, depending on how easily it happens, be getting some Vader Immortal VR during the stream.
Oh, that will be sweet.
We talked about that. We've got the founders, by the way. John, another thing I haven't told you because it's just been a crazy week. The founders of the 11-day power play. So in Western New York, this is where we are positioned. There's an annual event called the 11-day power play. This is why we're streaming on Sunday. We're going to raise money for this event. Proceeds for the 11-day go to Roswell Park, Oshai Children's Hospital, as well as a few other local charities geared towards ending cancer or putting cancer on ice, if you will. It's an 11-day hockey game where players and teams take 4-hour shifts. I'm taking part in 2 of those shifts. Tim's taking part of one of those. Derek Kramer, our buddy, he's going to be in a few of those as well. We're co-captaining a few of those squads. All your money raised goes towards that event. We're trying to raise money for it. Mike and Amy Lezakowski, the founders of the event, are going to do a little bit of a stream with us and talk about the event, hockey, the world of the NHL playoffs that's going on, all of it. Really
Amazing.
Excited. Derek arranged that for us.
Yeah.
So
Super cool.
good. Yes, good stuff going on there. Can't wait to have that happen. But that'll be streaming live on, again, Sunday, June 5th. So we're just over a week away from that. I'm Josiah Leroy. I want to also give one last shout out to 26 Shirts. Go to 26shirts.com. You can get the shirt that I'm wearing here. We've got the Buffalo Captain America shirt. Tim, you've got a beautiful hoodie on. The classic goat head Buffalo Sabres shirt. You can find that in all different forms, if there's any left, by the way. Anyway, what 26 Shirts does, they sell these shirts and proceeds go to families in need, individuals in need, or charities in need, much like the 11-day power play does. To date, they've raised over $1.4 million that have gone to those individuals. They just had a celebration event for that $1.4 million marker. We're happy to be just a small piece of that pie. Again, that's 26shirts.com. Go check out them and our friend Del Reed. JT, we miss you, buddy. Love you. Can't wait to get you on an episode of Busy Sticks, maybe of Star Wars Reviewed coming soon. But for John and Tim, I'm Josiah. We'll catch you all soon. Have a wonderful weekend. Happy Memorial Day.